the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us.
They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
What's up, everybody? How is it going? It is Monday. It is 8 o'clock. It is Central Standard Time. It is what is this, January 31st, 2022? What's going on, guys? I'm your host, Bo, the boom operator. Jake is out once again. He is still dealing with some of his injuries. And just unable to make it, but he is okay. But if you guys want to send him those warm wishes, do so there in the comments. He may or may not watch this show tonight. But we're back. We're back in the studio. It's another Monday night. We're going to be talking about movies as we do. It is kind of our thing. We're going to be here till 9 talking about stuff. So thanks for tuning in. Again, if you're just listening to the audio version of this podcast, thank you for subscribing. But it's a lot more fun if you tune into the live version over on our Facebook, our Twitch, or our YouTube. Just search for the Drive-In Speaker Box. Drive-In has a hyphen. Speaker Box is all one word. Or if you're watching this live stream and want to text to go, you can find us anywhere you find your podcasts. You can just search for that over on Spotify or whatever. Vince said over on Twitch already in the comments, he said, he had a whole thing written out for Jake, a.k.a. Slick Dog E, with all of the Twitch-related custom emotes for our subscribers over on our Twitch channel. You can check that out. So, tonight, again, being a solo endeavor, this show is rarely planned. Believe it or not, it's one of those things. I'm going to just go ahead and start by making myself a cocktail, because Jake's not here to give me a disapproving look. Rarely do we plan this show, because we've been just doing it so long, and there's just this lexicon of movie knowledge in your brain that you can impart with our viewers. And another week went by where there was like literally no movies that came out in theaters. I know I talked about Morbius coming out in theaters. That was its old release date. It did not actually get released this past weekend because they pushed it to April, early April, first week of April, I think. And so literally nothing came out. And I had this idea. Rarely, again, like I said, do I plan these things out, but I did have an idea, and I was gonna listen to you, the viewers, and you guys are always trying to get me to eat the Arby's. You guys know I love Arby's. It's no stranger to, I'm no stranger to Arby's, and I was like, okay, I'm going to eat that damn spicy-ass, butt-blasting, free milkshake given spicy sandwich tonight. That was my plan. I was ready. My mind and my body were in unison. It was going to be a show about self-actualization. It was going to be such a coalescence, if you will, of flavors and experiences that we were going to share together. And I even, check it out, I even wore an Arby shirt that Jake gave me. Check it out. I'm going to stand up and show you guys. It says, I'm not afraid of hell. I've eaten at Arby's. And I was ready, man. I was ready to do the thing. And then I get the studio set up. There's an Arby's not too far away. And I got the studio all set up, warmed up, lights cooking, doing the thing, dialed in, focus pulled, all my buttons ready to go, levels checked. And I'm like, all right, now's the time. I'm going to just go pick up the sandwich because it had a milkshake, limited time. I can't just, grab and go. Anything that sits in a bag too long is just insane. And I drive up to the drive-thru. I didn't see any advertisements for it. And I asked the lady, she's like, welcome to Arby. And I said, yes, where's the spicy challenge sandwich? She goes, that was an extremely limited time offer, sir. And I was like, what, like a week? And she's like, yeah, we sold out of those real fast. And I'm like, what the deuce? Why go through the trouble? Why go through the trouble if you're not even going to have it for more than a week? That's just, and I'm going in depth about this because it's going to kick off a conversation topic, because it all comes back to the movie industry, and we're going to talking about that, just like churn and burn limited stuff. But going back to the comments, Garrett said Arby's is so good, and he is correct. He is correct. And Sam says at least no one got knifed over the sandwich. You know, I wanted to knife the sandwich. I wanted the sandwich. Vince said, I like calling it a milkshake sandwich because it makes you think that they had a milkshake on bread, or you just can't get the milkshake or sandwich conundrum that I propose about movies. The shit sandwich or the shit milkshake. It's a a philosophical debate. But this milkshake sandwich. So I'm lost. But I didn't really eat. I'm gonna start the show off with a shot of Malort because I planned on punishing myself today, and we're just gonna start it off. Cheers, guys. We're gonna start the show off right. But, again, going back to the exclusivity thing, the limited time offer thing, and tying it into movies and how frustrating it is, it's frustrating on 2 points. Number one, things that you finally get around to getting, because not everybody can just drop what they're doing immediately and go get something. And that's how I feel about some of our shorter run movies, like our Fathom events, and occasionally our Malco will get some short run movies or some indie films or something like that, and they go, well, nobody came and saw them, so we're not going to do that anymore. And they only play for like a weekend. It's like, how are we supposed to know? How are we going to get out there? You never give us a chance to see if we like it. And on the opposite side of that, it's that whole like Oreo, M&M flavor of the week bullshit where they're not trying very hard. They're just going, you know what? A bunch of people are going to be super into this for like 5 seconds, and we're going to make our money. We're going to move on to something else because we're not going to invest in anything. We're just going to see how much quick cash grab that we can get. And I think that's a really dangerous line of thinking, not just in movies, entertainment, and consumables. I think it's dangerous in terms of just what's going on in our economy with, like, you look at the housing market, you look at the stock market, you look at all, the NFTs and the fact that they're even a thing, and all this quick money. Like, we've stopped thinking generationally because everything is about the me and the now and this moment. And if it's not super cool and profitable for the physical me right now, then I don't give a shit and it's not worth it. But we're not building anything for future generations to either enjoy, build upon, or get better with. It's just like we're just going to leave a big mess for everybody else to have to clean up. And we're doing that with our culture and our films and our TV shows, and they're also so throwaway. And, like with the Spider-Man franchise, it's like we threw them all away, and now they're like, oh, let's see if we can't scrap these together to make it feel like it was on purpose, when it was never on purpose. We just kept throwing new versions and new wrappers on these movies, and it's crazy. And yeah, like Elisa says, we're doing it to our planet, and we can't do it, guys. Like, it's not sustainable. And if you give a shit, like, I don't know what your spirituality is or how you think about the world, but if a part of my soul or aura, or if I'm going to be haunting this plane of existence till the end of time, like in the movie A Ghost Story, which I highly recommend, I don't want to be the shithole. Give me something cool to look at. Like, maybe I won't be able to interact with it, but at least I can, like, enjoy it instead of just be, I know I'm probably going to be a pretty melancholy spirit, and I'll probably, walk the earth in existential crises for the as long as there is time. But, at least give me something fun to check out, and not just like, ugh, I do enough of that while I'm alive. So, yeah, I don't know. Sam says, speak for yourself. I plan to live forever. I mean, I am a vampire. Everybody knows it. but I think eventually I will grow tired of the mortal coil and, just walk into the sunlight and embrace it. I hadn't seen it in a long time, but anyway, cheers to this Edgar Allan Poe shit that we're talking about. Yeah, it's wild. Speaking of Edgar Allan Poe, whoa, I don't know. That transition came out of nowhere. I read something in the news this week that Mike Flanagan, I don't know if you guys know about Mike Flanagan, but he is a pretty talented horror kind of filmmaker, writer-director. He was responsible for The Haunting of Hill House. He was also responsible for The Haunting of Bly Manor, and also The Midnight Mass, which was, kind of just a somewhat original story, and it was pretty all hit pretty well. It was pretty good stuff. But he is now working on a I don't know how much of an adaptation this is going to be. And every article I read, of course, they were written by young early 20-somethings or teens writing for the Huffington Post. But he's doing the Fall of Blythe Manor. And, it's, or not Blythe Manor, I'm thinking of the other project, sorry, that's Haunting, The Fall of the House of Usher. And Fall of the House of Usher, of course, Edgar Allan Poe short story, really cool if you're into Poe. If you ever had a dark gothic phase growing up, like we all read Poe, or maybe we didn't. Maybe I'm just that guy. But Fall of the House of Usher is a pretty good one. It's a different one, than some of his more famous works. But it's very psychological. It deals with family. It deals with the psyche and the mind and split personalities and fracturing of your mind and mental state and what you perceive as reality and family and the body, and it's really pretty cool and pretty dark. And I think that Mike Flanagan turning this into another somewhat mini series is kind of cool. And I'd really, really like to see this because I think he handled Midnight Mass very well, even though I thought it ended kind of poorly for a vampire tale. But the first half of that series was very good, and the two Haunting ones were equally as solid. And I'm kind of looking forward to this because it's all about psychological darkness and family and stuff we all have to deal with sometimes. And I think that was pretty cool news. Let's see. Johnny Dalton over on YouTube, he says Don Knotts and Andy Griffith should have done the Cask of Amontillado. So it'd be like, Andy, I don't know if I can get out of here or not. Oh, that's okay, Barney. I'm just gonna keep putting on this mortar. Or it's the Otis. They throw Otis in. Whatever. I don't know. All good Poe stuff. All good Poe. Edgar Allan, everybody knows the Frog brothers, Edgar and Allan Frog. That's another movie reference. Oh man, that's a good gin and tonic. So that was pretty cool. And Vince says go to Mount Pilot and get help. Speaking of pilots and Netflix stuff and what I was going back to originally with the Arby's thing about we can't have good ideas or new ideas. I guess this is related. Hocus Pocus 2 has been announced at Disney Plus. It's coming out this Halloween. It's only going to streaming. I'm sure it's going to feel very CW, and it's probably going to be just churned out. It's going to be just give them what they want. We'll throw it away. It's not going to age and become a cultural phenomenon like the last one. But that is news. They had wrapped production on it this week, and it is moving forward. But that's not what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about the new Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre trailer that dropped today or yesterday, or maybe it was today. I saw it today. I don't know when it dropped. I know it was before the last time we saw you, or after the last time I saw you guys. But this trailer is one of the dumbest things I think I've ever seen. Oh, sorry, Garrett, you already jumped the gun. He said it better be a good one or I'm going to be pissed. Of course it's not going to be a good one. They're like trying to find IPs that we're going to be excited about watching and then just crap something out. And I mean, if you watch this trailer, it is legit 100% taking what David Gordon Green did with the 2008 Halloween, not necessarily a franchise reboot, but it's sort of a reinvigoration, taking, Jamie Lee Curtis's character and then bringing Jamie Lee Curtis's back, and then other characters from the Halloween series, and then injecting them back into the thing and giving it a little bit of new life. One of the things about horror, which is a lot of slasher films always have the final girl. There's the femme fatales, but then there's the final girl who's always the strong willed badass that somehow thwarts the antagonist and gets away. And in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which again was a huge accident how that movie ever got big and famous, because they had like no budget and nobody wanted to make it and it was just thrown together. But the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre star, what was her name? Marilyn Burns. She's dead. So you can't really bring her back, but they're bringing her character back. And they're like, oh, well, now she's like in her 50s and she's grizzled and looks exactly like Jamie Lee Curtis. And she's like lots of scenes of her putting like hats and going, I've been waiting a long time for this. It's like, get the f out of, what are you doing? What are you doing? We just saw that with Halloween. Are we this stupid to like go, hell yeah, dude, sign me up. Let's do it again, bro. Just, it's all Jason, man. And I know there's going to be some fun kills. There's some ridiculous like Gen Z stuff where the Leatherface steps on a bus full of tourists and they all pull their phones out. Like, one wrong move, you're going to get canceled. And of course he starts like chopping their guts out. And I don't know. I don't know if this is something that we need. It's something that we're all going to watch because, and here's the thing is, Netflix, their algorithms and their formulas for what are gonna go make it's basically what we all watch. And so, much like these dumb flavors of the week, we're gonna just like choke them down like junk food and be like, where's the next one? I'm bored. And they're gonna go, well, everybody watched that, therefore it must be good. So, all right, let's do it again. And can we all just like cash mob like some art films? And it doesn't even have to be art films. I don't want to sound like that guy where I'm just like, what we need to watch is while I smoke a clove cigarello or whatever, and tell you to watch something that's just like sound and color and like, German krautrock for 4 hours. I'm not going to, don't do that. But, how do we like all just support an indie film online, like in a big way where they go, look at this. This is popular. We're going to give it another chance. I don't know. I don't know the secrets to that. But Johnny Dalton says 3 was where they should have stopped. Yeah, honestly, you're not wrong there. The chainsaw fight in part 2, I believe, is pretty awesome. Maybe just bring back, just chainsaw fight him. Like put him in, do a Texas Chainsaw Massacre X in space like Jason and give him a lightsaber chainsaw. I don't know. Do something fun. I don't want to see this again where somehow Leatherface was just still chilling out in that old town in that old house with his old parents and weird relatives, and they're somehow surviving. And even though they like eat people, but there's no people in the town anymore, so I don't know what they're eating. And it just is all so contrived, and it's bullshit. So I'm not looking forward to this. I think it looks like a big old stinking turd. Yeah. Big old stinking turds. Other things that look like big old stinking turds that didn't originate from stinking turds. Let's see how many more times I can say stinking turds tonight. Johnny says, a very Leatherface Christmas coming soon to the Hallmark Channel. I'd watch that. And this was some really weird news that they got in my feed today. Is that apparently, I'm going to turn into apparently kid. Apparently, there is a live action adaptation of The Last Unicorn in the works. And I guess there's also a stage musical being adapted with like Fergie somehow, London bridging her way into the situation. Vince is like, what? That was my reaction and Garrett's like, why? The Last Unicorn is, I'm just going to go out and say, pretty close to perfect. It's based off of the novel of the same name. It's a pretty out there novel. I'm gonna say I've never read the novels from like the late 60s, but the early, like 1982 film adaptation, which was from Rankin and Bass Studios, which a little lesser known fact about it is that one of the animation team that worked on this, they outsourced a lot of that animation team, went on to become Studio Ghibli, and then did Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, which is also pretty awesome, if you've never seen that. But Rankin Bass, I mean, they were the same studio that brought the Hobbit and then Return of the King, because they didn't have rights to Lord of the Rings, and that's when Ralph Bakshi did the Lord of the Rings. It was like that animated trilogy was really weird because you're sandwiched by these two like kind of rated PG Rankin Bass animated deals, and then boom, right in the middle is this Ralph Bakshi insanity, like just mushroom trip fever dream of Lord of the Rings, and they're all pretty good. A lot of good music too. I think there's in the first Hobbit movie, it's you get Leonard Nimoy singing a lot of really cool classics. Down to Goblin Town. I mean, it's pretty awesome. But The Last Unicorn, man. Last Unicorn had music from like America, and a lot of it was really cool. Not like American, but the band America, and it had like all these really famous people doing the voice. I mean, like Angela Lansbury was in it. Mia Farrow was like the main character. Alan Arkin was in it, and then of course Christopher Lee did his voice. It was super fun, and it is weird. If you're like into drugs and stuff, like, you could check it out. Yeah, Jeff Daniels was also in it. Thank you, Vince. If you just need something to, or not Jeff Daniels, Jeff Bridges, I believe. It was Jeff Bridges. Jeff Daniels is that's the guy in Dumb and Dumber, right? I get our Jeffs mixed up. But yeah, it's real good, and it's real weird, and the animation is real awesome. And if you've never watched The Last Unicorn, do it. Like, it is fun, man. And show it to your young children, because that's when I watched it, and look how I turned out. It's fine. It's good. I highly recommend The Last Unicorn, but I don't recommend a live-action adaptation of this shit, nor do I recommend or condone a stage adaptation with Fergie. Like, no. Okay, Vince over in Twitch is throwing some hot fire. He's saying Last Unicorn is greater than the Goonies. Come at me. Oh, man, I don't know about that. And that's a whole, I mean, I don't have a whiteboard here, so I could like flow chart you why you're wrong. But there's reasons. Mainly because Goonies is not an adaptation. Although there were a lot of knockoff clones in the mid to late 80s of movies that were trying to be like Goonies. There's one, I cannot remember the name of it. It's like called like Go Kid or something, and the cover art looks exactly like the Goonies. And a lot of people tried to capitalize on the success of that. But Johnny says, make a PowerPoint for next week. Don't tempt me, because I make amazing PowerPoints. I did it for years with the stage version of the drive-in speaker box, which I did live in front of a studio audience. It was good times. Johnny Dalton, man, what he like the Buttercream Gang. Why are you so obsessed with the Buttercream Gang? Is it did did mommy hurt you? Was Buttercream Gang, like, were you strapped into a chair kind of like in, Clockwork Orange, and your mom would give you like Milk Plus and put on Buttercream Gang? It's like, this will prepare you for the buttercream, and you like have to be punished with this Buttercream Gang because you're always on that Buttercream Gang kick. And at first I was like, oh yeah, he likes this movie, but I don't know. The more I feel like there's darker undertones to this Cream Gang. I don't know. Now that I'm thinking of Cream Gangs, it's taking a significantly darker turn too, with jokes that I won't make because this is rated PG-13. Anyway, yeah, I needed that. I'm gonna make another one because I didn't get my Arby's, man. I'm really upset about it. I'm upset about it because that was my plan. And like I'd been planning all day on it. I didn't really eat anything today. Like I had some lunch with my mother. Shout outs to my mom. And I guess there's nothing really for me to eat. I probably should eat. The only real I did discover this because I was like, if I'm going to eat something, I have this bag of like artisanal popcorn that was meant to be a Christmas gift to someone who doesn't want it. So, I guess I can just tear into this. It's like 5 gourmet popcorn flavors. It's this caramel, chocolate flavored, kettle corn, snickerdoodle, and ranch flavored. And I don't know how long this stuff lasts, but it says store in a warm place, which it says do not store in a warm place. So good. Best if consumed by February 1st, 2022. So man, I better get in this thing because it expires tomorrow. So let's just get on it. I'm gonna unbag this. It's like an unboxing video for popcorn fanatics. I mean, it's popcorn. It's the drive-in speaker box. It's relevant. Why is there a zip tie on this? I'm gonna have to get like tools. I've got tools. Check it out. I got one of these. Everybody, every person should carry a knife and then point it at your face when you're pulling and cutting. So, okay, this is ranch. We don't want that. What else do we got? We got Snickerdoodle. That one could be a good one. Crunch, chocolate crunch. Okay. I'm looking for caramel because that's my jam. Caramel corn, bingo, and then I don't remember what the other one was. I need a reminder. Kettle corn. Now that can go over there. There we go. All right, let's pop this sucker open. Give me some munchies. Vince says, "Oh, I thought it was a big tin, silver bags." No, it wasn't a big tin because it was in like a special delivery bag. And a friend of mine who really likes flavored popcorn, I got it and never got a chance to whatever. It is what it is. So I'm gonna eat your popcorn. There it is. Oh, it's so good. That's actually pretty good. All right, now that we got our popcorn, because that's going to really soak up all this gym, let's keep talking about movies. Last Unicorn. Go watch the original. Don't watch this remake shit. Speaking of other things getting remade, we've got, and I don't know how feel about this either, because we've already been down this path before. There's a new live-action Dungeons & Dragons series being adapted, right? And I was like, oh, it's so new. We've never seen Dungeons & Dragons on a screen before. Except for the animated show, which is pretty good. Doesn't age very well. Kind of like Captain N, the Game Master. You're like, man, that cartoon was awesome. And then you watch it again. You're like, not as awesome as I remember it. So there's that. But you've got the Dungeons & Dragons cartoon. And then you have that game, or that movie, was it like Dungeon Siege or whatever, with Jason Statham, and he has one last dragon to slay or whatever, which is also, I believe, based on Dungeons & Dragons. And there was another one that I cannot remember because I can only remember so much. But yeah, it's just not good. Vince says, this is fine, but if it was listening to the podcast, this popcorn make me want to claw my skin off. Haha, sorry, it's ASMR. Somebody's getting an erection listening to me eat popcorn, so deal with it. Donnie Dalton says, Night of the Living Dead, The Thing, A Star is Born. Okay, so 3. These live-action Dungeons & Dragons adaptations, yes, Dungeons & Dragons is popular right now. People are really digging it. But I just don't think that warrants making movies. And live action stuff, I'm getting real sick of live action stuff. We don't need live action everything, Honestly, give us some animated stuff. There is actually an animated Dungeons and Dragons series that's on Amazon Prime right now. I think it's like episodes every Friday. I think they're up to 4. I haven't checked it out. It's like Legends of Praxis, or I don't know what the hell it is. But my dungeon master, because yes, ladies and gentlemen, I play Dungeons and Dragons. As if you couldn't pick me out of a lineup. But it, I haven't played in a minute. I finished my campaign, got level 20, played the same campaign for almost 2 years. But there is a deep, rich lore and history and geography and all of this kind of stuff in Dungeons and Dragons, and it doesn't need to be live action. Everybody's looking for the next Game of Thrones, and it's not going to happen. Wheel of Time kind of sucks, y'all. Books are good. The show is not good. What else have they've tried to do? Amazon's doing the extended Lord of the Rings. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to capture that magic. Guillermo del Toro's on to other things. He's making stop motion Pinocchios, which I really want to see. But, and Dungeons and Dragons, the thing about Dungeons and Dragons is, yes, there is lore. Yes, there are these stories. Yes, there are characters, and geography and all of the stuff that people, play this game and experience. And there's, beholders and certain, dragons and Lestrade and all these cool characters. And, but the part that makes Dungeons and Dragons cool is you're in control of the story. It's about you, and it's about your imagination and your experience and what you bring to the table. A live-action Dungeons & Dragons is not going to do any of those things. It is missing the core component, which is our collective imaginations of you and your friends expressing the things that you expressively want to happen in this story. This is a key principle of what makes Dungeons & Dragons cool. How is it that producers are not seeing this? Much like how Disney, in their forever wokeness, and this is another topic. This is where Elderly Child says, "Yo, what are we talking about here?" Right now, we're talking about the live-action Dungeons & Dragons series that they're wanting to do. It's the Red Notice director is now set to write, direct, and executive produce. So if you guys like Red Notice, get ready. It's going to be Dungeons & Dragons starring The Rock as the Barbarian, and Flavor of the Month, a sexy heartthrob rogue, and trending strong female lead as a Valkyrie, and then we're gonna go BIPOC, questionable sexuality. Wizard is gonna be in there, and then there's gonna be wheelchair hero, and it's what it's gonna be. I promise you to God, that's what it's gonna be. And but the crazy thing is that's what Dungeons and Dragons actually is. It's a bunch of people from different walks of life coming together on a table and having an amazing fun adventure with their imaginations, but they're gonna fuck it up. They're gonna screw it because they don't understand how to do diversity without beating it over the head for diversity's sake and going to the Disney Channel and their forever wokeness, because they're like, oh yeah, Disney, they're always thinking about me. And then they're like, well, let's remake Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs with a Latinx crew. We're gonna call it Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the Latinx. Everybody likes Latinx. And then Peter Dinklage is over here, and they're like, the fuck? Did you just say dwarves? And like, how did Disney miss that? How did you miss that, guys? Like, we don't do dwarves no more. You know, and it's like it proves that Disney doesn't give a shit about any of this stuff. Disney is there to make a buck. They're there to have algorithms tell them what's trending, and then they are going to invest money in it to go get that money back, just like the Arby's fire sandwich at the beginning of the show. They're just going to do it for a limited time, make their money, move on to the next project. They don't care about you. They care about them dollar bills, and that's all. We are just data and algorithms to them. So, let's see. Elderly Child says, what if they did it like Jumanji, but the kids get sucked into their own D&D game? Have you seen any of the Jumanjis lately? Garrett says, I feel like we could say the same thing about Seven Samurai. Seven Samurai is dope. Toshiro Mifune is dope. If you've never seen Seven Samurai, give yourself 3.5, 4 hours and just settle in, buckle up for the greatest samurai epic ever told. Akira Kurosawa's masterpiece. Talking about, oh, watch black and white movies. Shut up, sit down, and Seven Samurai. Because Seven Samurai it's more Dungeons and Dragons than this live action D&D is going to be. It's something for everybody. But D&D, there's a magic there that they will not be able to capture. Because, you know, if coming from someone who plays, you know, Dungeons and Dragons is so cool because it allows people that think differently, that approach problems differently, that have different perceptions of themselves, and express it in a way that's accepted and also highlights the utility and importance of variety and diversity. Dungeons and Dragons is so freaking cool. All children should play Dungeons and Dragons. Like, you know, I know it's been banned since the 70s. They're like, I'm going to worship the devil. No, you're not. You're going to go slay the devil because that's cool. Except for if you're me, if you're Lord Rillian Avery, pirate lord of the islands of Cholt, then you're probably going to make a deal with the devil lord so that you can get a lot of money and a lot of influence and a lot of sway. But sometimes that's not. I'm not selling my soul. It's just a good business transaction. But that's the kind of character I play. I abhor violence, and I solve my problems with other people, money, and negotiations. And but you know, it's important to have that diversity. And live action Dungeons and Dragons is just going to screw it up. Johnny says his son and him will get into it when he is old enough, and I highly recommend that. Anybody that's out there, I don't think any of my listeners are on the fence about like if Dungeons and Dragons is bad for children. I'm pretty sure we're all geeks, but it's such a wonderful learning tool and a team building tool. And find yourself a good dungeon master. You know, pick it up, try it out. Like it. You know, I'm a grown ass man, and it is still fun. You know, it is a fun way to hang out and do something that's not watching a TV. It's not. I mean, you could still, dude. I have we drunk D&D, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm pretty sure that my dungeon master is on various hallucinogens when he's playing. Shout outs to my DM, but you know, it's just an immersive experience, and you should really give yourself a chance. Vince says, I heard a quote that really makes sense. Americans love the mediocre. Yes, we do. We love our chicken tenders with ketchup. We love our hamburgers plain. We love our Mexican food with no spice. We love sugar chicken. We love, like, we are the blandest of cultures, but somehow we've managed to like overtake and overcome everything. It's pretty crazy. Elderly Child said, it's also fun if you are good friends with the DM and they bully you. Well, it's all about building friendships. I mean, my DM, we became friends through Dungeons and Dragons. I didn't know him all that well when I started playing, and you know, I consider him a super close friend now. And you know, the relationships you build, it's the magic was in you the whole time. But yeah, I don't want to see a live action Dungeons and Dragons. You don't want to see that crap. I know we've been digressing. Well, I need to digress because I know we've been rabbit holing down a bunch of movie news. Sorry, Vince. I'm eating more popcorn. I'm pretty sure the person whose popcorn this was intended for might be watching, and it's delicious. So neener. There are movies coming out this weekend, right? There wasn't last week, so we're going to talk about them. Let me just wash this down. It's weird not having a co-host, because I have to get back in that mode of continuously saying words, so it's not boring for the people that aren't watching the video. Because the people that watch the video get to see this. But you don't know what that was if you're listening to the podcast. But opening in theaters. There are movies coming out this week in theaters. There are 3 movies coming out in theaters this week. Why did no movies come out for the past 3 weeks, and now all 3 are coming out this week? Because Spider-Man, which is actually getting close to pushing the... it's knocking on the door of domestic record setting for Avatar. Which is getting 3 sequels, by the way. If you didn't know that, James Cameron has been in a cave, in a secret bunker of his own design, doing Avatar sequels. I think he is becoming the Howard Hughes. Like this, he is making himself an Avatar spruce goose, of which will never fly. But, you know, that's a reference. Google it. Anyway, in theaters this weekend, I'm going to start with the one that I don't want to see the most, because it's directed by Roland Emmerich. And Roland Emmerich is a guy that makes really shitty movies. It's the new movie with Halle Berry, Patrick Wilson, John Bradley. It's called Moonfall. If you know Roland Emmerich, he is known for big, over-the-top CGI destruction films. So it's generally world-ending events. Because I want to say that in like the late 90s, he maybe developed a technology, much like James Cameron does for his films, where it's like, oh, this is how we I own the patent for lots of buildings getting knocked down in CGI. And so he only makes movies like that. I mean, Independence Day, Godzilla, Day After Tomorrow, the other Independence Day. You know, he did have a little bit of hand in Stargate, which I'll give him a pass for Stargate, 'cause Stargate's pretty cool. 10,000 BC, what a piece of shit. Like, these movies are all the same shit. It's like, what if the world gets cold? What if the world got hot? What if the world had a lizard that stepped on stuff? What if the world got lasered by aliens? What if the world... And they're all so stupid. If you watch The Day After Tomorrow, that's the one where, what's his name? Oh God, who's the dude that stars in the... Jake Gyllenhaal. He, like, outruns temperature? Like, what the hell is this movie? It's so laughably ridiculous. He, like, shuts the door on subarctic weather, and it's like, oh, it's coming for me, and he, like, closes the door, and he's like, whoo, didn't get me, and, like, oh, God, Roland Emmerich, what the hell? And now it's, what if the moon crashes into the world? And it's called Moonfall. This movie looks so stupid. Johnny Dalton says Moonfall looks like a fun drinking game movie. If AMC would open their bar back up, I would go see Moonfall. I would go see Moonfall with a flask. I would go see Moonfall with a cocktail. I would not see it here or there, but I would see it with a bit of hair of the dog. I'm pretty sure that's a book. Green eggs and cocktails. But not one of the banned ones. Moonfall, it looks like crap. I'm gonna go see it. I'm gonna go see it at the Malco because their bar's open. And if friends want to go, we'll go see it. We'll go laugh at it. But that's coming out. Also coming out this week is from director Scott Derrickson. It is The Black Phone, and The Black Phone is Ethan Hawke being real creepy. And Ethan Hawke has been in the game a long time. This guy has been acting for longer than I've been alive. Like, he was a child actor that's just been doing it. He's consistent. He's quality. He's in, one of my favorite trilogies, the Before trilogies. Ethan Hawke, Gattaca. Come on, Gattaca. That movie ages so well. The Explorers. If you've never seen The Explorers, do yourself a favor. Twitch Vince, you're going to hate The Explorers because it's Goonies. It's sci-fi Goonies. But The Black Phone is a new horror film that I just don't know how I feel, because I want to say that Ethan Hawke was in another indie horror film about like VHS tapes, and I can't remember. I mean, this could have been like in the Bernstein Bears timeline. I don't know. But Ethan Hawke in horror, like I feel like Ethan Hawke's getting at this point in his career where he's just taking on. Didn't he do that like Anton Fuqua movie? Vince, you love The Explorers, but you don't like Goonies? What's wrong with you? Are you broken, son? It's River Phoenix, probably. I don't know. I think that's probably. Anyway, Ethan Hawke. I just feel like he's taking on a lot of roles that don't make a lot of sense right now. But The Black Phone does look pretty creepy, and I'll take it. Vince says The Explorers was his first movie in 1985. Yes, it was his first feature-length film. He had been doing a lot of commercial work before that, but then that was his big break, and he crushed it. He was fantastic in that movie. But that one's coming out this weekend, and the movie that I'm most excited about, and this is gonna reveal a very, very embarrassing and dark aspect of my personality, is I don't even know if I should tell you how truly excited I am about this movie. The Jackass Forever movie is coming out. And I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I could not be more pumped for this movie. I am so pumped for Jackass Forever. You guys do not understand that Jackass is, my God, it is something to me, like, aside from the stunts, aside from, like watching someone get rammed by a bull, which, by the way, if you've seen the interviews, Johnny Knoxville got brain damage from that. He is just like, that was the worst hit I've ever taken in the history of Jackass, which started, I want to say, back in like, my God, it had to be the late 90s when they started doing those videos, because they were skate videos. And that's when I was a kid, and I got a hold of these CKY DVDs, because there was a head shop around it, and I was like, what is this? And that was like Bam's crew. If you know the history of Jackass, this is why I love Jackass, is because Jackass, it was kind of one of those stories to anybody that was a child in the 90s. I mean, we didn't have cell phones in our like movie cameras in our pocket. It was, I had done a lot of dumbass stunnery with me and my friends. We did something called Fireworks War that to this day has not been outdone, because I was always the brains of the project, and I got a wholesale distributor's license of fireworks when I was a teenager, and through probably a little bit of forgery, and what we're not going to talk about, whatever. But the point is I was able to buy an entire U-Haul full of fireworks, and me and my friends pulled together almost $2,000 between like the 20 of us. It's not much when it's split like 20 ways, but you know how much fireworks you could buy wholesale? Like, you're going to open a stand, and then we would do these insane stunts with fireworks. And but Jackass was kind of like this, if these guys can do it, so can we. And we were, if you look into the history of this, it's just a bunch of dudes that were homies that were just doing silly stuff. Oh my God, furious apology over here with the Chaos Bucket reference. Holy shit, somebody has seen Fireworks War. Yes, the Chaos Bucket. But these guys, they're just and they're friends to this day, and they've been doing just silly stuff with camcorders, and then they were in a bidding war with MTV and Comedy Central and even Saturday Night Live wanted these guys, and then they pieced out the MTV show because they didn't like where it was going, and only 3 seasons. It was only 3 seasons. You think about shows that happen now that almost nobody watches, that go on for like 10 or 12 seasons. This was a cultural phenomenon that only lasted 3 seasons, and they did a handful of movies. I think the first movie was in 2002. Oh my God, 20 years. You know, and then there was the second. I made my mom watch the Jackass movie, and she was like, I almost threw up watching that dude take a shit, but now she's hooked, and I'll probably take my mom to see the new Jackass movie. Mark says, "Hey, Mark, what's going on?" A fellow, it's a skateboarder right there, Mark Landry, over there. He's a skateboarder, so I know he's watched some CKY videos. Big Brother Skateboard Mag and the old CKY videos were the first place I saw the Jackass guys. I have never laughed harder in my entire life than watching Brandon DiCamillo take a shit, wipe his butt, put the toilet paper in his fist like a dagger, and then go above a sleeping friend and go, "Congratulations!" and stab, and then the stab wipe. The stab is enough, but then he stabs and wipes, and I think it was Ryan Dunn, and pour one out for Ryan Dunn, dude. I mean, moment of silence right there. He was one of my favorites, but then he got revenge by peeing on his face. Like, what the hell is happening with these guys? But it was so hysterical, and to me, it was about. And I know this is going to sound so dumb because I'm trying to get heartfelt about Jackass, but it's about friendship, you know, and in such a pure way. And these guys are such a crazy inspiration for people like me who are DIY media makers, like this, like literally what you're looking at right now, is inspired by, if a bunch of guys with a camcorder can do it, I can do it too. And if all they're doing is skateboarding and hitting each other in the dick with, whatever, BB guns, then I can do it too. And, and then it's hilarious. Like the Johnny Knoxville stuff where he goes on and is in Men in Black 17 or whatever and does the bad grandpa. Like, I'm not into that. But watching the Jackass guys hang out, goof around, like, have fun, prank each other, and just be friends. Because I don't know what walk of life you come from. Friends prank each other. Friends like to rib each other. They like to do, but this is to the extreme. And to me, like watching that, it's very rare in your life where you get to have friends that last a lifetime. And seeing a group of guys, and I know money is probably part of it, but watching them like kick Bam out because of his substance abuse. It wasn't because they didn't like Bam. It's because they just don't want him to do drugs, man. And they were hoping that this would clean him up, but it didn't. It only made it worse. But they actually care, and all these guys are homies. And I don't care what you say. I don't care if you think it's dumb. I am super into Jackass. So, like, it's so good. Mark says, you ever watch Dumb, the story of Big Brother magazine? I think it's on Hulu. I have not. I need to check that out. Because Big Brother magazine was where Jackass originally pitched, like with Johnny Knoxville, but CKY, they were doing their own thing, and they kind of converged. And what did CKY stand for? I know Mark's gonna know this. It was like very relevant to today's Gen Z. Oh, Camp Kill Yourself. That's what CKY stands for. But you go back and you watch these, the Big Brother. It's big. So in the 90s, skate videos. I mean, everybody does a skate video now. Most of it's fail videos, but skate videos were so DIY, and it was such a movement that still hasn't really been appreciated. What was it? Lance Mountain? Was it Lance Mountain? I think because I grew up watching him. I was always fat, and I could never skateboard, but I always wanted to. And so I watched these guys, and I wish that I could have been these guys. And then you see these guys in their real lives, and it's just pretty cool, man. I don't know. I just can't say enough fun stuff about Jackass. So I'm really pumped. Mark, if you want to go see Jackass with me, let me know, because I am down, my friend. I'm not going to go skateboard afterwards. That's for you, because I will kill myself, and I like having my pretty teeth, and that's how it's going to be. So, Jackass Forever coming back in theaters this week. Pretty amazing. Can't believe that they're even doing it, but they all have way better insurance than I do. So what are you going to do? So yeah, that's what's coming out in theaters this week. And wow, it is almost time for us to be done. February 4th. So that's going to be this Friday. This Friday coming out. I guess it's time for us to do the box office roundup, because we're almost out of time. We only got 5 minutes left, guys. Can you even believe it? I've got caramel corn. I've got gin and tonics in my fun Skull Mason jar. I don't have a spicy Arby's chicken sandwich, which is problematic to say the least. I wore my Arby's shirt. I didn't wear my Arby's hat. I almost wore my Arby's hat, but I felt like that would have jinxed it, and I jinxed it either way. So, c'est la vie. Next week, if Jake is not here, then I will have some other challenge food. I don't know. Put in the comments before I'm done. Like, what do you want? What do you want next week? You just want me pontificating about life and film and making weird stream of consciousness like movie recommendations. I mean, what were our takeaways tonight? Last Unicorn, go watch it. The Explorers, go check it out. The Edgar Allan Poe, go read it. Fall of the House of Usher. What else did we covered a lot. There's a lot of deep dives that we covered tonight. So Vince says not getting the sandwich is the worst thing in 2022. Oh, speaking of bad things in 2022, there was another death. Howard Hesserman, he died tonight, or not tonight. He died this week. He, not a huge star, but he was, I don't remember him very much because he was a little bit before my time. But I remember WKRP in Cincinnati, like as a very young person, a very young child, and that was a thing. And head of the class, which I don't really remember, but there was a thing, but Vince threw it up in the Twitch. I do remember him from Spinal Tap. He was pretty awesome at Spinal Tap, but he died this week at age 81. And Johnny Dalton, he was in Flight of the Navigator. That's right. I forgot about Flight of the Navigator. That's a movie that kind of scares me because it's about government trying to like kidnap and exploit a child, and it's Flight of the Navigator is kind of weird, man. I don't know. It's like E.T., but even darker. It's also been a really long time since I've seen Flight of the Navigator. I just remember that like Mercury teardrop spaceship and the like eyeball that looks like the eyeball that came out of Jabba's palace that was just like, and they're like, I'm here to see Jabba, and it goes, and it like swoops out. Star Wars languages. Why does everybody like understand? That's a whole nother thing. I don't know. They didn't have universal translators like in Star Trek or Babelfish, like in Hitchhiker's Guide and other sci-fi nerdities that I could bore you for hours with. But let's talk about the box office roundup before I get too intoxicated and start just babbling about insanity that I've read or watched in the course of my life, which would bore you all to death. There we go. Let's see the box office, domestic box office for January 28th through 30th, 2022. Can you believe we're in 2022? This is a year after Johnny Mnemonic was filmed. Wasn't that in 2021? Or maybe it was 2022. I don't know, but it's now. The future is now. Music is the weapon. All right, number 10. West Side Story. Number 10 is West Side Story, bringing in $573,000 this weekend in the box office. Number 9, Licorice Pizza, bringing in $630 million, or thousand, not million, Bo. And it's only brought in $11.7 million at the box office in its 10 weeks in release. Although being hailed by critics and panned by woke people, Licorice Pizza is having a very interesting journey. Yeah, check it out. I'm not going to talk about it. We talked about it in depth on a previous episode. You can go watch that one. Number 8, Ghostbusters Afterlife, somehow still in theaters. It's still in 1,100 theaters nationwide, and it brought in $776,000 at the box office. $128 million domestically for its run. Number 7, American Underdog, bringing in $1.1 million in its 6th weekend release for Lionsgate, bringing in $24.7 million. Vince coming in correct 1 year after Johnny Mnemonic. My God, how does this brain hold this bullshit? I don't know. I'm broken. I'm a broken human. The 355, number 6, coming in at $1.3 million on its 4th weekend release, bringing in $13 million for Universal Pictures. Speaking of Universal Pictures, I really want to go to Universal Studios Hollywood. They are renovating the Mummy ride, which is the best ride, but one of the best roller coasters in the country, by the way. But in the meantime, they have done a Universal Studios Universal Monsters gift shop. That's all Universal Monsters like merchandise in front of where the Mummy ride is, which is kind of terrible because I want to go see the shop. But if I'm going to Universal Studios, I only want to ride that ride because I'm kind of afraid of heights and I don't really like roller coasters because I get vertigo because I have mild GERDs and it makes me throw up. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But I really want to go see this gift shop. Maybe I'll do it, but then I won't get to ride the ride, and it's just like a whole conundrum, and it's terrible. But 355, nobody's watching that movie. Number 5, Kingsman, bringing in $1.6 million at the box office. 6 weekends has brought in $33.9 million. Number 4, Redeeming Love, $1.7 million at the box office. In its 2nd weekend release from Universal Pictures, bringing in $6.4 million. Number 3, Sing 2. Still out there in 6 weeks, bringing in $4.6 million, bringing in total of $134 million at the box office. Number two, Scream, the latest in the Scream franchise, bringing in $7.2 million at the box office. 3rd weekend release is brought up to $62 million. Everybody's like, it's not doing so good. No, it's doing really good. It's done over $100 million worldwide, $62 million domestically for only being out for 3 weeks. Wes Craven would be proud if he were still with us. Number 1, of course, because there's nothing else to go see, Spider-Man No Way Home, $11 million in the box office. $11 million more dollars in the box office. It's only been out for 7 weeks. It has brought in $735 million at the box office. It has kicked the $1 billion club right in the balls. It is hitting $1.7 billion worldwide. I think we need a moment of silence to understand the gravity of what we've done and what we've created. Andrew Garfield's already signed on for like 17 more Spider-Man parallel universe movies. Like Sony's money boner is so engorged and throbbing right now that it's just going to penetrate all of our wallets for the foreseeable future. We are going to get Spider-Man crammed in orifices we didn't even know we wanted. Like, it is going to be so terrible. Because Spider-Man is a property that has tons of stories already written out, and the guy that wrote them is dead, so they don't have to argue with him. Like, they can just bastardize Spider-Man till they're dead. We're just gonna get more memes. We're gonna get like almost $2 billion in the theater. That's not counting merchandise, not counting streaming, it's not counting VOD, that's not counting everything that's gonna happen with this movie. $2 billion. Like, evil James Bond villains don't even ask for that much money, and Spider-Man did it in 7 weeks. Do you know what we could do as a population with $2 billion? Do you know how many problems we could fix? Do you know how many renewable energies we could create? Do you know how many homeless we could house? Do you know how many educations we could provide? Do you know how many bellies we could feed? But no, we want to go watch 3 Spider-Men point at each other, and we're going to give it $2 billion. Don't get me started. I'm already started. $2 billion. And we're going to give it more next week. I know we are. I know we are. Here's my challenge to you. Don't watch Spider-Man anymore. Stop it. Just stop it. But that's your box office. Number 1 movie in America. There you go. All right, gang. Well, that's my show. I'm gonna sign off here and eat more popcorn while I upload the podcast. And be up here by myself and do my thing. So, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check out the podcast. Like, subscribe, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube Live. Shout outs to my man Reed, who tunes in Australia. Can't ever see the live show, but he does download the podcast, so that is always fun. That is always good. Vince says, next week, if possible, it would be fun for you to give us a tour of what's displayed in your set backdrop. Oh, man. That would be fun. I actually was talking to someone just the other day. They slid into those DMs, and he was like, yo, I really like the set or the backdrop. I was like, that's a set. All this stuff's real. And he's like, wow, yeah, very cool. Yeah, we could do that because I have this camera. I've got like the portable camera, and we could go back there and we could like look at all the toys, and we could just do a look at Slimer. You never get to see Slimer's badonkadonk. It's pretty awesome. It's juicy. You want to just like cup it and give it a squeeze. But anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. And thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. Maybe Jake will be with us. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a guest if Jake's not going to be here. I was going to have Tyler from the director and writer of Flight, the short film that I helped him create. He was going to be up here, but he's doing a photo shoot because he's so cool. But next week, maybe. So anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe. Send us an email. If I can find my mouse, I can stop the show. I'm just stalling for time now. Vince says, take care all. Get well, Jake. Send Jake your best. He needs it. He's going through a rough time right now, but he will be back and hopefully in full health pretty soon. So there you go. We'll see you guys next week. I'm Bo, the boom operator, and this has been the Drive-In Speaker Box. We'll see you guys next week.